Yeah, man, an honor and a pleasure to have you on, bro. If you're ready to rock, I got some notes for us, man. I'm trying to learn more about you. If you're ready to rock, I'm ready to go.
Oh, yeah, we ready, man. We stay ready. We stay
Come on,
ready.
man, let's do it then. We are back. We're Discoma. We got episode 2 of season 2, man. Started with the two-time Henry. Had the pleasure and the honor of having him on the show last night. And by the rankings, according to your Twitter bio, I got the number 3 Madden player in the world. I know a bunch of dudes who would say that's a little bit low for my man, the myth, the legend, CLEFF the God, bro. A pleasure to have you on the show with us here today.
Thank you, man. Hopefully we get number 1 next year. You know, we can close in on that.
Man, I think you're well on the way. I'm so glad to have you, bro. Part of the point of what I like to get at with these Fen Talks is we've seen your story develop. We have this idea of who you are as a competitor, as a guy, based on, now even up through seeing you in the booth. And, we have this idea, this picture of who the man, behind CLEFF the God is. And the best case scenario here is I just want to learn a little bit more about what makes you tick, the experiences you've had in your life that set up your value system. You're such a fierce competitor. I know I admire that. I played football in college as well. So, we got a lot in common. Every time I'm watching you, I'm like, man, if I was any good at Madden, I feel like I want to be like CLEFF out here. You know what I'm saying? But I suppose maybe we could take this thing in order, man, to the point of you having this fierce competitive nature. It obviously plays into your Madden success so well later, but I imagine this started with your experience with football, with being a football player. Is that just about right?
Definitely. I've been in sports all my life. Like, I played basketball. I didn't really have like the ideal childhood, sort of say, where I had all this time. It was sports nonstop. Like, my dad coached me and he pushed me to be the best. So basketball, baseball, football, that was year round for me. So like, competition was all I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, that made me go. That's all I wanted to do. And then, fast forward to now, it's still a part of me. Those type of stuff when you're a child, that type of stuff right there, it doesn't leave you. So, that has kind of developed me to where I am today.
I mean, it's building blocks, bro. All those things you experienced just, set the foundation for who you became. Were you the best at football right off the rip? Were you maining football, or were you even a little bit better at your other sports?
Honestly, I was probably a better basketball player and baseball player growing up. I was kind of like a bigger kid. Right. And then, I stopped growing. You know what I'm saying? I stopped growing. So, like, basketball, my dad was like, you know what? You're going to have to play football. You're not going to be tall,
For sure.
Football kind of came along because I started, like, really, once I got to high school, like, by my 11th grade year, it was strictly football. So that's all I was training for. And then I became a lot better at that than I was in my other sports.
For sure. I mean, I see you're still posting clips. You could get it done on a basketball court even still. You look a little ridiculous, like you're built like a linebacker, like this big, strong-ass dude just pulling up for 3 and dropping dimes. But it seems like you're still very much an athlete. You're physically active, doing a whole heck of a lot. You still a practicing athlete?
I think that stuff, it just, when you do it for so long, it's like a part of you. The times where I haven't worked out for a few months or a few weeks, or, my mental health has slipped. Because I'm so used to I'm wired a certain way, you know what I'm saying? And just for me, the working out and all that stuff is more about the mental stuff than the physical stuff. Like, it just helps me. It helps my morale. It just lifts my spirit up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I would say I'm definitely still an athlete, but I ain't the level that I was, no doubt. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough, bro. I mean, I'm not saying I was counting. I wasn't not counting. It was at least a dozen reps at 225 on the bench the other day, though. Come on, man, for the burnout set?
Yeah, a little 14, man. You know what I'm saying? A little 14.
Holy mackerel, bro. I'm missing a couple. I can't be shortchanging you out here, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, we're trying to get 20. That's the goal. We're trying to get 20. So, right now, I'm actually stronger now than I was. I'm 25, so this kind of like your athletic prime, sort of say. That's what all the athletes say. Like, this when you kind of step into your grown man. So I'm stronger now than I was 4 or 5 years ago.
That's a beautiful thing, man. It feels good, too. A lot of function, too. You're throwing around some hang cleans. I've seen all that. It's great stuff, man. So you kind of locked in on football come high school, and that's where your focus was. I know you got an opportunity to play, even more football after high school. I had, a similar experience. I'm curious, how did that go for you, bro? Was there, a recruiting process? Did you have an experience with recruiting during high school? Were you an underrated, prospect and had to fight? What did that start to shape up for you as you were getting, much better at the game?
Yeah, I would say I was definitely underrated.
Yeah.
Football is kind of like a size thing. It's a numbers thing. More
Yeah.
than production, it's a numbers thing. Like when you talk about recruiting, it's more like what is your 40? How tall is he? What is his frame like? So I say I was definitely under recruited. Like I had smaller schools offering me, but I felt like I was way better than that if given the opportunity. So that's why I chose the JUCO route. I'm gonna go JUCO. I'm gonna do 2 years here. I'm gonna prove myself again that I can play no matter how tall I am. I can play. So that's kind of what it went like for me. That's what I kind of gambled on myself. I left money out there to go take a trip to California and play at Fullerton College. And I needed to do that though because honestly, it made me uncomfortable. I'm not a city guy. Moving out to California, you come from the country. Like, it was definitely like a culture shock, but that's where I grew the most.
For sure, man. And so you mentioned before that even still, staying physically active is a part of how you maintain your mental health. Being an athlete for as long as you have, how has your mental health and the maintenance of it played a role in your development, even from these times when we're talking about, the recruiting struggle? I lived through that same thing too. People telling you like you're too small. Even at 6'2", I was getting recruited 6'2", 300 pounds. And then, I also got it. Once I got to camp and I was the smallest O-lineman, I was like, okay, I guess it makes a little more sense. Did your maintenance and positive management of your mental health start for you back here, high school and JUCO?
Yeah, I would say, I always was like strong-minded because, I grew up with my dad, the coach. So you grow up your life hearing like, oh, you only playing because your dad, the coach. You know what I'm saying? So from day one, I had to rewire my mind to not listen to what they were saying. You can hear what they're saying, but you can't really listen to it. So that kind of started me early to be kind of wired to where like, okay, I want to prove people wrong and I want to prove me right. So since I was a kid, like I said, that kind of just drove me through college, through high school. When I first got to college, I was there to play running back. But I saw, these college running backs, they big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These college defenders are I'm not trying to get hit by these dudes. By these linebackers, D linemen, they way bigger than high school. So I'm gonna go play DB. So I just always had confidence in myself if nobody else was gonna believe in me. So even Madden, this stuff is way more mental, man. Like I always tell people, you got to be strong-minded. You know what I'm saying? That's what separates people in this stuff. Everybody has the knowledge to be good at this game. You know what to do. It's YouTube videos out there, everything. The difference is the mental aspect. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the most slept-on quality.
And I think that's one of your most notable differentiating aspects, just from what little I know of you as a Madden competitor. And of course, I want to get to, everything in the Madden sphere pretty soon here as well. But while we're still on your experience with JUCO, how did that wind up going for you? So you came in, you mentioned that you were prepared to play running back, didn't wind up being what happened. What was the experience once you got there? Was it what you thought it was going to be? All I know of JUCO really is it's not Hard Knocks. Come on, Netflix.
EMCC. What's it called? Last Chance. I think it's like Last Chance U. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one. That's kind of all I know of the JUCO experience. What was it like for you?
Man, it's hard, man. It's hard. I didn't grow up rich, and neither did most people I was out there with. California cost of living and Florida cost of living. We talking about night and day. You know what I'm saying? You talking about making $5 stretch a few days, not just one day. Like thinking about where is my next meal. How am I gonna manage this money? Like it really made me grow. Was it what I thought it was gonna be? Was it all flowers and clear skies? No, it wasn't. But I honestly, like I said, I needed that shakeup. I grew up quick out there. I was on my own. I didn't have any relatives. And I met people out there to this day that I'll forever have a brotherhood with. From being out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely. You get outside your comfort zone, you learn a lot about yourself. The good and the bad. You're gonna learn a lot of bad that you might have turned a blind eye to. So it's like a mirror that you got to see. So I think it definitely
really comes up in these times of flux and times of change. So coming out of this, then you've got to look at yourself in the mirror. It was a growing experience. You did a lot of growth in a short amount of time. When you're now done with your JUCO experience, like what are you taking with you? What are the lessons and what type of baggage are you taking along now for the future?
So what I took out of that is just you got to work, man.
Yeah.
You got to work no matter where you start. You know, no matter what's going on in your life, you have to work. You have to be willing to outwork people. You know, the only reason that I even played at JUCO as far as like started and was a starter is because I just outwork people.
Yeah.
Like when you have to understand what you're good at and what you lack at. So I knew I could work hard and, you know, beat people in the off season. So I think just what I took from that the most is just how to work, like how to really outwork people. And if you say you want to do something, your work ethic has to match that. And if it don't match that, then you lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we get to see you having lived this path reap the benefits of having this mindset. And now, you know, we have the treat of getting some kind of backstory as to how this drive of yours developed. You know, it sounds like it was a life-changing experience at JUCO. And, you know, I know, kind of changing gears just a little bit, what must be another of your life-changing, truly defining experiences is becoming a father.
Oh yeah, definitely. That definitely, you know, that changed me a lot. Honestly, that made me a lot more, I would say, less selfish. You know, to an extent, when you do this, you know, just like professional athletes, you have to have a little bit selfishness in you to get to where you at. You just have to, or you have to be willing to sacrifice and, you know, kind of put yourself first and your goals first. But
for sure,
with just becoming a father, you know, it made me put myself on the back end a little bit, not in a bad way, but it just realized, you know, I was a little bit too selfish. You know what I'm saying? I was too locked into Madden, like where the outside world didn't matter. I wasn't worried about what was going on. Winning a belt, that was it for me.
Yeah.
You know, that was the all be all. But it's like now having a son, it's like it just humbled me a lot and it made me realize, okay, my purpose ain't just for me no more. You know, I have somebody to raise and to be better than me. You know what I'm saying? So I got to invest in his life as well.
Man, that's such a beautiful thing. I mean, they always talk about women with the biological clock. I'm 31 years old, and I got to be honest with you, bro. I feel like, my father put it the same way to me when we're talking on the subject of fatherhood. He was like, for me, it was just like kind of this clock went off for me, and it was all of a sudden like, you know, I'm ready for this. Like, you know, I want to become a father. So I'm always so curious to hear. I'm excited for that part of my life, you know, in the hopeful event that it does come. So I'm always so curious to hear, you know, how fatherhood can affect someone's mentality, especially, you know, someone at the top of his craft like you are. Now, I'm sure focus has to change, right? Priorities has to change. I'm sure there's not quite the block of hours that you could spend in practice mode available to you now that you have your son, that you have, you know, 3 that you're taking care of here. How have you been able to balance staying as relevant as you are and as relevant as you will be in Madden, in your esport, with the new responsibilities of being a father? Is it longer time awake? If you had to adjust some other things, how are both of these things fitting together?
Honestly, my girlfriend, she amazing. To keep it real, like she hold things together. Like, just to be honest, I couldn't do this if it weren't for her. Like, she understand. At the end of the day, this pay the bills, and I want to be as great at this as I can. Like, I don't do this to be good. I want to be the best I can be. So it's like during the season, I don't see them as much. You know, I just don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see them as much. Now it's off season. I take more time, and really my emphasis is really just, you know, spend time with my family. Sure. You know, spend time with my girl, spend time with my son, really be the family man. But during the season, you know, it's a lot more long hours. It is. It's just like I'm up late night. You know, but she has sacrificed so much, honestly. My life in that perspective hasn't changed that much because she's taken time off work. Like, she come to me, ask me, hey, do you got anything? Every time she get her schedule, she comes to me first before and says, hey, do you have anything going on this week? You got any tournaments? Do you need time to play the game? So it's like, that is why, like, my life in that perspective has not changed so much because she has really held it down.
Man, and it's so often that we hear that, you know, from great men that they do indeed have great women, great partners behind them. It sounds like she's doing a lot to help set you up for success.
Oh, yeah, definitely. She is. Hopefully she don't hear this, though. You know,
I might have to clip this, bro. This is pretty wholesome clef I got right now. I'm kind of liking this, to be honest with you. Wholesome clef is a move.
Yeah. She probably can hear me from the living room. She probably enjoying it.
Good, man. You deserve some points for that. That's a beautiful thing. So we got like, a little bit of background on some of the path that you walked in. Of course, I mean, just so many Madden fans in the chat with us now on Twitch live, and we'll have it up on YouTube later. Of course, we got to talk about Madden. How you came to find the game. I'm sure being a football player is at least a small part of what got the controller in your hand in the first place. But what have video games played a role for you? Was it really just Madden? Are you a gamer? Where did this start?
Honestly, I'm a natural born gamer. My dad is a gamer.
Okay.
He had all the games from the Sega to the Dreamcast. I'm talking about I grew up with every game because my dad, like I said, my dad was a gamer. He's a high school coach, but he gamed when he was around my age. So I grew up gaming. Besides like I said, all the athletic stuff I had going on, I was gaming all the time. So I've been gaming. They say I've been gaming since I was like 2 or 3. That's what my dad always say. So I kind of was born into that lifestyle.
What was your first system? It sounds like Sega Genesis. I think mine was Sega Genesis. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was like my first console game system. Now my mom only let me play for 30 minutes. I'm looking now bro, I couldn't get through a Madden game in 30 minutes anymore. Mom was cheating me a little bit on my time allotment there. But I got my start on the Genesis, bro. Was that your first system?
I can't tell you what the first system was because it was all I remember Resident Evil on the Dreamcast. We had a Nintendo 64, the Mario Kart, Sega as well. Sega might have been the first one. My dad had this is how old it was. He had a K-Swiss shoebox full of games, full of Sega games. So I would just be playing his games.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. So when did you pick up Madden? So you're a gamer, from the jump, competitive with your father. You got all the consoles, games, and systems in the house. By all accounts, I'm pretty sure pretty good at most games you played. When did Madden enter the picture for you then?
Man, I was always playing Madden, but I would say Madden 04 is when I was actually really good in Madden, where I'm beating my dad friends at the game with Vic on the cover. You know what I'm saying? So
of course,
that's when it clicked. Dang, I'm actually good. All my family, my friends, they grew up saying you a cheater, man. You know what I'm saying? You cheating, you got some type of cheat codes.
Bro, so 04, so I guess it's only regs back then, right? We're not really talking about hella game mode. So are you running with the Falcons back then?
Oh yeah, definitely. You got to run with Vic. If you ain't running with Vic in 04, man, you making the game hard on yourself.
Bro, had to be. And that was a team, that Falcons team too. Everyone played with them, so the whole roster. Even today, you got your boy Algie Crumpler, Peerless Price, Warwick Dunn, and TJ Duncan in the backfield. Defense went crazy too. Was a cornerback? D'Angelo Hall.
Yeah, D'Angelo Hall. I think they had
maybe the next year.
Finnerman,
right around then, right?
Yeah. They had a squad.
Bro, super squad. So 04, now you're starting to beat up on Pops and his friends now, starting to get, better at the game. Did you start making a couple bucks off this, right off the rip? Are you, how competitive are we talking?
I was competitive, man. Even to pivot from Madden, they had a NBA Drive on the Xbox, the original Xbox. I used to go to my mom's, and I'd be hanging around my mom's, and I'm playing against her boyfriend, and I'm beating him in NBA. So it's the game is. It wasn't even about. People were betting on me, But obviously, I'm a kid. I ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gambling. I'm just doing it, just to do it. But it's that people were making money off me from a young age.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy, full circle to look back at that. And then when I got to college, I mean, shoot. There's teammates I gotta tell you, bro, we paid rent because of you. We was going around gambling on 2K on Madden.
Oh my goodness, great! Just parading CLEFF around, bro. Anybody that wants a game could get a game, huh?
Parading, teammate. I played against a few teammates, and then that ended after my freshman year. That pretty much ended because I already had a reputation. Okay,
and nobody's gonna play you anymore.
Nobody gonna play you, so it was cool for a semester. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was cool.
So we're talking about, of course, how much effort, how much time goes into playing, to really doing anything at the top level. But in our case, playing the game at the level you do, so much to the point where you have to rebalance your life. Now, when did you really get serious about what was happening with Madden. So your boys are making money off you as a young gun. You ran through the whole college. Nobody's gonna play you anymore. When was it that you kind of realized you might have something a little bit different with this game, and it might be worth buckling down and seeing if you can make some money on it?
Say Madden 09. Madden 09, I was on Gamer Saloon. They had bringit.com. This one I was 12, 13, and I went to Players Bowl in Philadelphia, and I made Final Four at that tournament. It's like the biggest Madden tournament at the time of the year, Right. So like when that happened, I'm like, dang, I can really do this. Fast forward, high school happened. I got busy with sports, college. Sure. And then I came back at the end of Madden 18. The end of Madden 18, MCS was over. I was back home from break. And I was playing against like Joe, Mo, and I was beating these dudes. And I had seen these dudes in the MCS. And I'm like, man, if I'm beating them, there's no way I can't compete and do the same thing they're doing. So Madden 19 came around, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm full go. Full go. I was coaching high school football, but it was literally coaching and playing the game. That was it. Like that year, and you see the money they're giving out. And it was just like, I would be a fool not to do this. I love to compete. I love to play the game. I might as well go full force.
True indeed. I mean, it seems like that's probably an outlook you've taken on, quite a few parts of your life, just doing it, committing to doing it very well. And it's kind of like the story I had heard about your trajectory, that you were like really a young phenom. And then we're still really a young phenom, even when you came back to the game later, end of 18 into 19. And then, things develop, it seems like pretty quickly into, the star of Madden that you've become now. If you could, bro, share with the people, in the chat that want to recreate something similar for themselves. They want to build on success. Where you're at now, what type of investment will it really take? I like to get, a realistic idea. We were talking with Henry last night. It's like it's equivalent to a full-time job as far as, where I'm getting reps and the things that I'm doing. Would you echo those sentiments that this is, as you have said already, something you really need to fully commit to?
I think it's more than a full-time job. I really do. I think it's more than that, because I think, okay, you clock in to play the game. You might play for 8 hours, but bro, after you done playing the game, Madden is still running. Right. It's still running through your head all night. You know what I'm saying? So I think the level, and I think you should look up to, really, to me, I look up to athletes. Like, I look up to professional athletes, and of course, we're not doing what they're doing, but their level of dedication and commitment and laser focus, that's what inspires me. So I think if you really want to do this, you have to really commit your life to it. Like, this has to be number one. There's no mistake why Henry has 2 belts. Right. You know what I'm saying? Sure, this is everything to him. This means everything to him. You know what I'm saying? He's not partying. He's not dealing with distractions. He putting all that on the back end. You know what I'm saying? There's not a mistake that he is as great as he is. Dreamy. You look at Skimbo. These dudes, when they in season, it's Madden 24/7.
And you alluded to it before, but I mean over a full-time commitment for certain. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase the question. What you're learning now about the options as a streamer, you're becoming a content creator, talking to young guns who are picking up the sticks, they're spending a little more time on Madden. Is there any value, do you think, in advising kids, guys, folks, away from Comp Madden and closer to content creation as a means to be involved with the game over a long term?
I think content creation is number one. I really do. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm perfect at that, because I'm not. I'm hypocritical. Like, I have a tendency to put competitive Madden in the MCS first, but I think if you worried about your growth, if you worried about the brand, if you think in the bigger picture and long term, you should be 1,000% dialed in on content, and you can do both. You can do both. I would say a perfect example is Skimbo. Yeah. Skimbo was one of those dudes. He was strictly MCS, man. That dude never booted up a stream. He never wanted to be on stream, ever. Mm-hmm. And you look at him now, he killing it. You know what I'm saying? Gracious. He's killing it. And when you see that type of growth, and you see what's coming in, and you see where it can go. You're not even at your peak yet. You think about 5-10 years, man, that's the future. And that should be your main focus. Definitely.
True indeed. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Plus the fact that we see guys even as close to us, like Noah, now talking about paying scholarship money for esports. I mean, the world that these young people are, growing up into is unprecedented. It's never been like this. They have options that they've never had. And, I love to see Madden being so closely tied to everything that's happening. Like the West Virginia president hopping on, to congratulate Noah on everything he's got going on. I think it's really encouraging the number of ways that you can successfully engage with Madden. Even if you're not the best player, even if you're not a CLEFF or a Henry or what have you. I think, the versatility that we can take up in Madden is encouraging.
Yeah, definitely. Because, not everybody can be LeBron James. Not everybody can be in the NBA. True. Just genetics, But when it comes to gaming, man, everybody has a fair chance. There, you know what I'm saying? That everybody has a fair chance. And I thought the Noah thing, the president of West Virginia University, man, tweeting at him, that was so cool to me, man. I got goosebumps watching that.
I watched it a few times on a personalized video, bro. Like the university showing so much support, and I just think it's indicative of the direction things are taking. Man, the sky's the limit. It's going to be, guys like you kind of leading from the front and providing what has been to this point and what will continue to be a really great example, bro. You're doing a really good job out here. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and it's loaded, but I also think it's the question that everyone wants to hear from you on the most. At least I do. So as a viewer, just as a fan of yours, really, watching you, and it has always seemed like the storyline is this guy can win any single game against anybody at any time. I'm not gonna hop on. The game there will be fluke in any Madden game, and these things happen. I'm not trashing the game by any means. Like that's not the road I'm walking down. But as someone that's experienced your storyline and been a viewer and been intaking the content, I can't help but feel like, for me, and I'm speaking for me, not for you, that you've been cheated a little bit. And now that I know your competitive fire, your competitive nature, you've never blamed the game, you've never cried about it, you've never wallowed in self-pity. It's always and consistently, it's one of the things I admire about you most from afar. It's always, what's up next? Get back up, the next tournament, the next belt, what's on the next focus, and continuing to be dominant despite a couple instances where, bro, if it was me, I'd be in fucking shambles. Like just straight up, call it what it is. My question, though, I need to talk less and let you talk more. My question is, as you have been the one to primarily experience this, what has been the story of your Madden career? Is it a success story? Is it just something that's unfinished right now? Is this disappointment ringing strong? What's your story from experiencing this as you go, as much as you'd like to tell about what it's felt like?
I would say it's definitely a success story, man. It's definitely a success story. Now, am I very disappointed in myself? Hell yeah. If you a competitor, if you don't win it all, you're going to be disappointed. And I think years down the road, I'll be more proud of myself, But I think now, as just being who I am and what I strive for, I've had 2 belts slip away. Now, like you said, I always look and feel like, okay, there were things in that game that I did wrong, that if I do right, the game turns out differently. I mean, I ran commit version. I was in full control of the John Beast game, and I ran commit, and that's pretty much why I lost. Did I fumble? Yeah, but I lost because I ran commit, so to me, there's always things. Accountability has to be a priority, and I always try to be accountable and look in the mirror and say, what could I have done better? My story it's definitely not finished, because I think I have the mentality where I can be as good as long as I want to be good. Agreed. I got a mentality to where I can block all the unnecessary noises out. I'm willing to block that out and sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice having this social life, being out the house. I'll lock myself in here and really put the work in. So I think my story is not finished, but I would say I would say for my story right now, what it is falling down but getting up, dealing with adversity, you know, and that's pretty much what I've been dealing with my whole life, you know, just having to pivot, you know. At the end of the day, you gotta. It's easy to be happy and accomplish shit when things are going good. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can handle when things going good, but your character shows a lot when you have these failures. That's why you gotta respect what Henry has been through. The man had a lot of disappointments. He had a lot of disappointments, and he figured it out. And now you're not talking about he's one of the best to not have the belt. You talking about, man, he might be the greatest Madden player in MCS history. Right. You know, so you gotta respect it.
Man, you absolutely have to. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it just seems to be a theme. Rebounding, recovering, adjusting. Matter of fact, now that's a segue. This might be a dumb question. Is there an origin story on Adjust? I mean, there may well not be any, but was it like just you and like a couple of the boys? Was this like you and your crew, like a Discord thing? Because Adjust goes hard, and I gotta be completely honest with you, bro. I have co-opted that thing in like every other stream I've ever done, bro. I'm Adjust. They get a pressure and accurate Adjust. Man, I got the Adjust for that. Where'd it come from?
All right, so it was a dude who I kind of, when I first came into Madden, he was always in my stream. He really helped me out. I mean, you got those people when you first started streaming and you're not even really a streamer yet, helping you out, really supporting you. His name was Adjust. His name was Adjust. And then one time I just used it. Like, I just used that word, and I'm like, bro, it sounds better with two S's. That's how he spelled it too. And then I just started saying it all the time. And then, now you see it today where everybody using it. And to me, it's so crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a humbling thing to see so many people using that word. Like, I think it's the dopest thing ever, man.
I mean, it's Madden wide, bro. And I can appreciate a good ad lib because every once in a while I'll be, like saying a weird thing that gets picked up. But Adjust, bro, I have to tip the cap, is so versatile, bro. You could throw out an Adjust in. I'll be adjusting in my kitchen. My girlfriend's like, "What did you just say?" I'm like, "Babe, never mind. I just made a crazy Adjust on this dinner. I was gonna burn it, okay? Gave that thing a little misdirection, and we're gonna be just fine." But I mean, I'm using Adjust literally everywhere.
It go with anything, man. It literally go with anything. We could be having a regular conversation. You could be like 2 + 2 = 4. I'd be like, Adjust. You know what I'm saying? It just go. It just goes.
It can mean everything and nothing at all.
At the same time.
But just the way it has happened, have adjusted a little bit yourself. Now, I'm curious, and now that I know, I'm getting a little better sense for, certainly the competitive Madden stories is nowhere near over, but not the first nor the last time I'll gash in this interview, bro. You did a great job in the booth.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was a
What
lot
was the
of fun.
transition like? What was the change from being a player to now watching this happen, being a part of production? Like, what was it? Were there new type of nerves? What was it like being in the booth with some legends?
I ain't gonna lie, it's nerve wracking. Cause you gotta think, man. Nick, User, and TD, man, like they are like great at what they do, man. And they've been doing this. Like, they make it look easy. Yep. Like Nick wears so many hats. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wears so many hats, and you don't see all the work they put in behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of stuff they do. And for me, it was so much fun because I always grew up, like, I always told my mom and my dad, like, if I don't make it to the NFL, like, I want to be an announcer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that was always in me. And then, you coach a sport, you're used to breaking the game down to make it simpler for kids or whoever you might be coaching. So, like, as soon as I knew I was at the tournament, it was like, man, this is something that I've always wanted to do. Why not go for it?
Man, such a great fit. I mean, and don't get me wrong, the three of those guys and whoever the host is do a consistently great job, and the production really on these events is always top notch. But it feels like you just fit right in, like you were meant to be there. Was it a lot of behind the scenes work? Like, was the equipment that they had to bring for you the same? Was it more as when you were playing?
I would say it was the same as if I was playing. There was like a few tweaks, but nothing too major. But I would say, man, the production team, man, shout out to my guy Royce, shout out to all those guys behind the scene, because their goal was to make me comfortable. Like they went out of their way to just make sure, like, hey, Clef, are you comfortable? Like they made sure I was good. You know what I'm saying? Because it's nerve wracking. It's different when you come in up here and you playing Madden, and then when you coming up here and you gotta speak Madden. You know, and shout out to User, because User is the one who really helped me get my foot in the door, man. And that's one of the most selfless dudes I know. Like he is a selfless guy. He really want to see everybody win.
I mean, yeah, we had the honor of getting to sit down with User on one of these talks as well, and just like you have been, and really all these guys we've had the treat of being able to sit down with. Y'all are the guys that you hope you would be, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Because we've only ever seen you on TV, like in events as a player, as a commentator, and in linking up and having these conversations with you guys, it means a lot to know that really what you see is what you get. Like I place a high value on consistency, and you share that with User. You guys are really, what you see is what you get, and I think that's highly valuable.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, man, you can only fake it for so long, man. Like,
true indeed.
Yeah, and then you got to try to always be on. Like, if you can just try to find out, everybody has a talent. Everybody got something they're good at, no matter who you are. If you can just play to that and really stay true to that, it makes your job a lot easier, because it's way more natural, it's way more organic. It takes way more effort to try to be something you're not. I can't be TD, I can't be Nick, I can't be User. I gotta be Cliff. Like that's who I have to be.
And that's the best thing that you can possibly bring to the table. And in discussions I have with other streamers who are trying to grow, I say just that very same thing that you did, is your personality and exactly who you are. And for me, it's all the good and the bad. Like, it's all my rough edges too. Like, maybe I'm like loud or arrogant sometimes. I never think I'm wrong. I talk a little too much, but I can still guarantee that it's just going to be me. So I can echo that sentiment for sure, that I think, that is all of our differentiating factors. Nobody can be you better than you can be you. So I think there's a lot of value in leaning into that. And speaking of stream and content, I know we touched on it before, mentioned Skimbo doing as much as he has been doing between remaining competitive and also developing this crazy successful stream that, I mean, keep it real, it is paying his bills pretty well. Yeah, I know you're a streamer yourself, got the YouTube going. I made sure I subbed up today, so I'm ready for all future CLEFF THE GOD drops. We'll make sure to have your links all in the chat today as well. But looking forward for you, less on like kind of the EA side, like, playing and announcing Madden, but for CLEFF the mogul, CLEFF the entrepreneur, what do you have cooking up right now as your focus items for stream or your content? What's kind of like your order of priority that you're looking at for your stuff?
Right now, I would just say, just continue to develop as a person, because I feel like for me, if I'm not developing as a person, I'm not going to be the best content guy I'm going to be. But I've always said I want to be bigger than Madden. Like, I don't want to be boxed in to where, okay, he has to have his hand out for Madden. You know what I'm saying? Like, these biggest guys, these biggest streamers, these biggest YouTubers, these dudes can do whatever they want to do. They have the freedom to play any game they want to play, do in real life content. They can do anything, and people gonna support because they built that up. So for me, that's what I want to do. Like, I've started this thing called More Than a Gamer. Like I've hashtagged that a lot because I want to show people the other side of me. That I'm just like you. People think gamers are just nerdy people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just a nerd and you don't have no life outside of gaming. No, I'm just like you. Like, I like to hang out. I like to go on the boat. I like to maybe go to a bar. I like to do the same thing you like to do. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I want to find a way to kind of transition, kind of outside the game a little bit and do a lot of in real life content. Because in the off season, I get more time to, just kind of focus on me and, focus on the things I really enjoy to do.
For sure. I mean, your basketball streams have been great. I love when you throw those up. I think that's a great success. And I mean, I'm certainly of the same mind. It's Madden, of course, for you, has been so good to you and, innumerable successes within the game. But if you want to talk about the long game, right, the sustainable venture would certainly be to be mobile, to have an audience that is now here for CLEFF THE GOD more so even than they're here for CLEFF the Madden player, and you can kind of expand from there. And it's actually, you know, kind of where on a smaller, you know, scale than yours, on a different scale than yours, kind of the decision that I've made recently with my streams and my content as well. And it's tough, you know, because like there's certainly the ego shot that, you know, maybe you could put up 100 viewers or 150 viewers on a Madden stream, and you feel really good about it, and the chat's popping, and you know that's where you cut your teeth and you establish your foundation and your home base there. And it can be a shot when you try out something else, and it's just different, right? And you know, even like Partnered, I'm always convincing myself that you know, there is value in playing the long game, on trying to make these adjustments. Do you have any thoughts, like, for yourself on ways that you're kind of easing the transition between CLEFF as a Madden player into, you're going to have these basketball streams? Like, you got any tactics? I mean, and it's an open, I don't know if there's an answer. This is like kind of like personally for me. If you got anything that's working, I'm curious where your head's at.
Yeah, I would say what's working for me is just doing what makes me happy, man. Like, basketball makes me happy. I'm already doing it, so why not just stream it? You know what I'm saying? And I understand 1,000% what you're going through. You know, I play Apex and streamed Apex, played MLB and streamed MLB, and it's like your mind tells you, you know, your mind boxes you in. You see the viewers, you see the chat, and it ain't the same, and it's like you're not worthy of streaming other games. You have to stick to just Madden. You know what I'm saying? That's what your conscience telling you. So I would just say, you know, for me, it's like, okay, you know, I playing the long game, thinking about what's out there, you know, because a lot of this stuff is just in the now. You know, it's just in and out. And when you're trying to really grow outside of that, you know, you're going to take some losses to get that win. You know what I'm saying? It's just taking a few L's to get where you're trying to go.
That's a beautiful thing, man. I mean, it seems like it's been your outlook in so much, and it served you so well. And I mean, I love what you said. Happy people, I think, make the best content. Part of, you know, what made me realize that I needed to switch things up and, you know, go a little closer to variety was I was just having a little less fun. And it's not because the game was, it had nothing to do with the game. It had to do with me. It had to do with feeling stuck and like I wanted to be doing other things. And I had the same experience as you, man. I put out better content regardless of what it is when I'm happy and when I'm having fun, when I'm feeling excited about what I'm doing. And it sounds like you found quite a few things that you feel like that about for yourself as well.
Oh, definitely. It's been times where I might have had more subs, way more subs than what I might have right now. But at the end of the day, I'm more happier now. So what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up your happiness? You know what I'm saying? And to me, now, no, I'm not. Like, if I'm not happy doing something, I'm not going to do it. Because, like, money come and go. You know what I'm saying? And money is not going to make you happy. Right. You know what I'm saying? So just giving up a few subs here and there, maybe the chat ain't popping how it was. You know, I've been through that, and I'm not saying I ain't go through that and that ain't make me like down or depressed, because you know, we all go through that as streamers. Us streamers, we battle a lot, but we get on this camera and, you know, you would never know. You know, we do a great job. Shout out to the streamers, you know, putting on the show, like everything is going good. And that's why when people get in the stream, they realize, okay, it's not as easy as I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? There's a little more that goes into this. Yeah, they just turning the game on and putting the camera on, man. There's a lot that goes into it. So yeah, like, it's a lot.
For sure, bro. And this is the, you know, a few times now you've mentioned your good mental health habits. I know we talked about it when we were going through your experience with JUCO and like what that felt like to you. And, you know, you gained a lot of strength from your experience with your father and have him being your coach. You mentioned, you know, up through now, if you're not having fun with it, you're going to make an adjustment. You have fun with basketball, so more basketball in your life. Kind of as you are now, as a father, as a professional, an entrepreneur, you have so much going on. Can you tell us a little bit about your, like, are there daily mental health habits that you like to participate in? Do you really have a close eye on this? I know for me, I go to therapy weekly. I try to be as open with the chat as I can about my bipolar depression. You know, sometimes things are hot and cold a little bit. And I've always found that kind of just addressing the elephant in the room and not letting it be a mystery is kind of a good way to come at it. But do you have any like active mental health practices that you feel like you're really getting some good results from?
Yeah, I would say the gym is always, you know, that's always big for me. But I ordered a whiteboard. So I have a whiteboard on my refrigerator and I write on it every day, like make a checklist, you know. love, laugh, smile. And when I get be present, and when I do those things on that day, I check it off. And I always have like a quote of the day, something like that. Because like you said, there's a lot of times you fight, especially being a man. Being a man, you take on a lot, and you kind of put your feelings on the back end because you think it's a sign of weakness. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to be more vulnerable. Talking to my girl a lot, because she is always like, you can talk to me about anything, because sometimes there's something going on, but you just don't really want to, it just don't seem like the right time to let that come out. You know what I'm saying? It's never the right time to talk about it. So I'm just trying to be more vulnerable and be more open, to what I'm dealing with, and just trying to be, consistent and attentive to what's going on. And one thing I've always heard, and when I hear it, it really makes me click. Be intentional. Be intentional with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So just having that purpose and just opening up, because like I said, it's scary. It's scary to have yourself out there, and it's scary to be on here and talking about mental health, because we don't talk about it enough. Getting your mind in order. So yeah, I would say that, like the whiteboard I've been doing, I've been trying to read and just being more present, being a lot more present.
Man, it sounds like some really well thought out stuff. And now this is the second time in 2 days Henry mentioned a lot of things along similar lines of intentional action, and every single day, approaching every single day with the intention to get something done, to be a little bit better than you were when you woke up, or to have produced a little bit of something. You have something to show for the day. And now it's 2 highly successful men in a row that we've heard the value in routine and coming it every day with the intention to get something done.
Yeah, and we got Darrington Evans. It's live in the chat. One thing he told me
in the channel. Holy cow,
star, man, the Mr. Bear Down himself, man. And one thing that he told me that I took away from him, man, is just celebrating the little wins. Sometimes we think of something so big, and we don't celebrate our little wins. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I did the dishes today. I might have mowed the grass today. Well, that's a win. And you should celebrate things like that. You can't always be so roller coastery, up and down and up and down. You're not always going to accomplish everything you set out to do that day. So just enjoying the little things. I think that he told me that, and I try to just apply that to my everyday life. I'm not perfect. I'm still trying to get better.
Of course, man. And I say it frequently that we got to be just as willing to hand out W's as we are to hand out L's. And I think that includes for ourselves too. You know what I mean? Like being okay taking a small to moderate sized W, feeling good about that, and then building upon it, being maybe a little less harsh on ourselves and more encouraging, kind of as a general rule of thumb,
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like I said, like the little L's will bother you. You know what I'm saying? But then the big W's you don't even appreciate. You know what I'm saying? So like there has to be some level of balance. It's okay to be sad, and be down when you might take that L, but you got to get back up. And then when something good happens, treat that with the same energy that you treated that loss. You know what I'm saying? Be Absolutely. As positive as you were negative.
And you said it the right way. You have to also be okay with feeling these things. Like you don't need to like skip past the feeling sad part just because it doesn't feel so good. Like I do think there is sometimes a value, and of course you can't wallow, right? You can get carried away with anything, but like you mentioned before, as men and women too, they'll deal with the same thing. I think we got to be okay with not being okay, right? I know it's like a little bit cliche, but you're still okay. You're no less yourself, in the times that maybe you're sorting some stuff out and you don't quite feel yourself, and that's all right. You know what I mean? There's no harm in not being okay. Like you've been telling us all day today, it's a matter of picking yourself back up and what you do that comes next.
Yeah, definitely. Like we human, man. We supposed to feel. I feel like today's age, it's like made a thing to make it normal where you're not supposed to feel anything. Like you're supposed to be numb to life. You're supposed to just be so heartless. And I think we weren't born to be that way. Like it's okay to feel emotions and feel things. Like the era we live in is it's more cool to hate than to love. You know what I'm saying? So definitely I think you got to be okay with, like you said, not being okay.
For sure. And I mean, I think, folks with voices like yours who can be so loud to that point, man. I think you're a part of the solution, and I'm out here fighting the same thing. So I really appreciate you being open with us on that front too. I want to be respectful of your time, man, and starts around the corner here. I got a couple more questions for you, maybe like a couple things looking forward. I collected 2 questions from the chat. A couple of the boys had questions for you as well. But what do I got here for you? So looking forward now, coming up on Madden 23, okay? I don't know. I didn't ask you for the ranking on games, I suppose, but looking at 22, how it played, the things that you enjoyed and the things that you didn't enjoy, are there any adjustments or changes that you're hoping to see for Madden 23? What are you hoping that looks a little different?
I would just say consistency, man. Consistency. Okay. This game, to me, this game was just way too inconsistent, But that's why people love watching the games this year, because you never knew what was going to happen. Like the Madden Bowl this year, it was live. Like it was fun as hell to watch that, because you never knew what was going to happen. So I think just every game, you never knew. Game. Like, was he going to drop this pick? Was he going to ag him? You didn't know. Was this zone going to play wild sometimes? So I just say be more consistent. And I think the player movement needs to change too. I think that's the reason zones are so bad, because you can click on to somebody and they won't even react. So hopefully just more consistent and just the player movement a little bit more fluid.
Yeah, fair enough. Henry said a lot of similar things. I'm curious to see what we'll hear from Noah and John Beast for the rest of the week. I got a couple questions I collected from the chat for you, bro. One of them was from my man Papa Fausti. We got the potential that they're teasing us with this NCAA football release maybe in 23. You excited? You buying it yet? You just kind of wait to get hype until we got something more concrete? You got eyes on NCAA? We gonna get CLEFF the God Clemson champion or something like this?
Oh yeah, I'm excited because it's another football game. But I'll say this: I've always been a Madden dude. I've always been a Madden dude. For whatever reason, like I played NCAA, but I never really got into it that deep. I would say I'm way more excited of the rumors of the NCAA March Madness game. That got me excited. Like a basketball game. Bro, that's exciting. I think that's a lot. For me, that's more exciting than the NCAA.
Bro, that'll be a throwback back to your Dreamcast days, probably. I think that was one of the last NCAA, like the March Madness type game, right?
Yeah, it's been at least 10 years. Like, it's been a long time.
Yeah, man. I think we're ready. I love to see everyone doing so well with content. I mean, whatever. I've even seen some throwback like March Madness games on Twitch now. People seem to be pretty excited about some new college games coming out next year. And then I got from my man Jer Stein. He had a great Madden question here for you, Clef. Year to year, I mean, a game changes. You came on our radar 19, 19, 20, 21, 22 are 4 distinctly different games, like severely different games, and you've remained competitive and at the top of the class in all of them. His question was kind of some of the steps you need to take to adapt year to year. The game changes. I imagine you have to change a little bit too. Is it entailing a bunch of head-to-head? You popping in practice mode, getting with the crew? How do you adjust, bro?
I would say, you just got to study the game. You really have to study the game. Like, you got to get mental reps even when you're not playing. Like, I watch all of the good players. I watch too when they stream at the beginning of the year, when all these MCS pros are streaming. I'm watching. I'm trying to see, like, what is the best stuff this year. Like, you can't, a lot of times people, it depends what your priorities are. Do you want to be different, or do you want to be the best you can be? I've always been like, okay, I want to be the best I can be, so I'm gonna run whatever is the best. I'm running it. The meta, I'm going to run it every year. Like, so I've always, prided myself on just bending with the game, kind of being flexible, open to any different ideas. Like, just because I ran bunch Madden 20, that don't mean I'm gonna run it. Like in the Madden Bowl this year, I ran tight slots. Like, I didn't even run the offense that I ran I ran bunch all year. I ran Carolina. Yeah, I did. I seen that Cincinnati Bengals tight slots was the best book in the game. That's what I ran for the Madden Bowl. I'm like, this what's best right now. I gotta run it. I think you just gotta be willing to let the stuff in the past go in and try to treat every game differently, because it's a different game. Like, you can't think about, oh, this worked last year, it might work this year. You know what I'm saying? You gotta treat it separately.
You did everything you could right there to avoid saying you gotta adjust.
You gotta adjust, man. You gotta
adjust. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You said it much more eloquently. I like your version better still, but at the end of the day, you just gotta be able to adjust.
Hey, one word: adjust. That's the answer to your question. If you took away anything, adjust.
That's it.
That's
adjust. Man,
That's
and CLEFF has been adjusting from the get-go, man. Fought a complete success story in so many different ways, through your JUCO experience. I'm so glad that we got some of this background. I want to be respectful of your time, man. We're creeping up on an hour here. It was an absolute pleasure and an honor getting to sit down with you here, man. I'll say it again. I know I was just another internet guy who loves Madden like you do. The fact that on short notice, you're responsive, man, super kind, willing to hop on and donate an hour of your time to give us this insight into you as a man. I'm really grateful for it. The chat has been excited all week. I mean, what an easy interview, bro. I mean, you're a natural. Everything I expected.
Man, thank you, man. Thank y'all for having me. You made it easy on me, man. If you ever want to be an interviewer, you got a future, because they were easy lobs. Everything was easy for me.
Come on, man. And then you just knocked it out of the park, bro. I did my part. You did yours, and a successful interview for sure. CLEFF, man, thank you again for your time. You got fans in the congregation. I can't wait to see what you do next on the sticks, in the booth, man. You got supporters in all of us. Thank you, brother. Have a great, great day, man.
Hey, thank you. Y'all have a blessed one as well.
Peace, CLEFF. Oh, my.